Folks, we have a great actor on with us now. We have some great films that are coming out. The Judge is right around the corner. I know we've talked about the amazing cast they put together for that film, and he's part of that as well as many other projects. Matt Reidy's with us. How you doing, Matt?
I'm really good, Judge. I was going to call you Judge. Brandon.
Hey, you can call me Judge. I could be judge and jury and do all those things. No problem, Matt.
I'm well. Thanks for talking to me.
I tell you, you got to be a part of just a film that has just an amazing cast. I know we've previewed it briefly as some of the casting news dropped early in production. Really haven't touched on it here lately, but catch everybody a little bit up on the film itself and then kind of lead into what your role is.
All right. The Judge takes place in a little fictitious town in southern Indiana, and Robert Downey Jr. is a lawyer. He's the son of Robert Duvall. They have a rather entangled relationship over the years. Vincent D'Onofrio plays one of Robert's brothers, as does hello, come on, help me, Matt.
Billy Bob Thornton?
Jeremy Strong.
Oh, okay, Jeremy Strong, okay.
And they are at home with their father, who is a judge in this little town. And Robert Downey Jr. gets word while he's doing a case that his mother has passed away and he has to go home. And it's difficult because when he gets in the same room with Robert Duvall, fireworks ensue. I am Robert Duvall's longtime dedicated sheriff and am very protective of him. And I know about this difficult relationship between he and Robert. So when Robert comes back to town for the funeral, I'm guarding Mr. Duvall as best I can against anything that Robert Downey Jr. might have to say or do. And through the course of events, everybody being home for the funeral, Robert Duvall gets accused of murdering someone that had gone through his courtroom in the past, and Downey steps up and takes the case for him.
It's definitely an interesting drama, but just probably an amazing character piece. As you read the script, was it just to get the role, or is it just like one of those that kind of jumps off the page at you? You're like, man, what I got to do to be a part of this?
I was lucky enough to be called in the room to audition before I really understood the weight of this script and film. Which helps an actor sometimes, because if you know that you're going to be part of an Oscar-worthy film, it can scare the crap out of you. Frankly.
Yeah.
So you just go in and you deliver the story as best you can, the part that you've been told to play or asked to play. And thankfully, that's what all I had to do, was have a few simple minutes in the room with the director, David Dobkin, and the casting director, Carrie Barton. And I delivered a couple of pure moments that happened to be David Dobkin's favorite, so I got the job. And then when I arrived on set, that's when my head melted.
You didn't even mention Vera, and I threw Billy Bob out there, but is there any real big memories or takeaways from the actual production that you can share with us?
Did you say Vera?
I mentioned Vera, yeah.
Every moment was something, and Vera Farmiga was a huge part of it.
Yeah.
I've spent a lot of time. I smoke cigars, and I'll be thinking about the film, and it's coming out at the Toronto International Film Festival next month, and I'm crossing my fingers I get to go out and be part of that premiere. But I think about everyone's performance, and the first time I got to watch Vera live, I'm a big fan of the Bates Motel, and of course the film she did with Clooney, Up in the Air. But to watch her live is to watch acting jazz. She and Downey and Duvall and D'Onofrio, they do different takes, and each take is unique. The cadence, the rhythm, the inflection will be slightly different in each one, but it lands on you perfectly when they come to the end. And Vera, I'm not letting any cat out of the bag here. She is one of the sexiest. I know she's married, has kids. She's one of the sexiest women on the planet, just because she embodies every moment that she is communicating with you. I don't care if it's, her birthday happens to be right next to mine, as is Billy Bob's. My birthday was yesterday, the 5th. I believe Billy Bob's is, the 6th? And hers is the 4th, so I got them birthday cards last year on the set. And simply saying thank you to me for this birthday card was a lovely, warm moment that she gave me in earnest. I mean, to look in her eyes and just see the truth. That's what I remember most about her.
What a great experience, and just one that I know you probably will just look back on with a lot of pride and put a feather in your cap, because I don't think we've heard the last of The Judge. And folks, that officially opens in theaters wide on October 10th, so make sure you mark your calendars for that. I know that we'll be talking about that again. And did you have any scenes in particular with any of the other actors in particular, or is it just with mostly Duvall?
Robert Downey Jr. was the first day. I flew to Boston, and we drove out to Shelburne Falls, which is a couple hours east of Boston, in this beautiful little scenic town. And it's a very poignant scene toward the very end of the movie. And this is the biggest. It's no secret. It's the biggest project I've had the joy to be a part of. And walking in the room and meeting Robert, because he's a producer, he was integral in getting me the job. So I thanked him for that, and then we got to work on this scene. It's very near the end of the film, and it's a turning point for his relationship with me and the town, frankly. And he's producing on this, so we get to watch takes. We do a couple of takes, and we go back in one of the other rooms where the monitors are, and he's sitting on the ground like a kid. He's a 1,000-watt light bulb. He's electric. He's full of joy and energy and focus, and we're watching these takes, and he said, "What do you think?" And we chatted about it a little bit, and I said something, and he made a suggestion, and we went back in, and we did it, came back to watch on the monitor again, and he jumped up like a little kid and just said, "Yes!" clapped his hands and looked back at me and pointed. And I mean, this is my introduction to this huge star.
Wow.
Who is, again, giving me all of his attention and creating this magic moment for the end of this film and giving you the immediate approval just as they yelled cut. I'm still glowing.
Fantastic story. Thank you so much, Matt, for sharing. And that's kind of the behind-the-scenes stuff that I just love to really tap into, and what people don't necessarily see. We don't hear about the different celebrities, and we always hear the muckety-muck, and I'm just so sick of that. I want to turn the page on all that and love to dive more into the acting nuts and bolts.
Can I add one more?
Absolutely.
Real quick. Melissa Leo, who's in this film. Did you see her in The Fighter?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Great film.
She's amazing. She came in one day to do this very poignant speech as well. I won't blow any of the storyline to tell you about it, but she delivered this 2 or 3 page speech to Robert Downey Jr., and you could have heard, how a film set is. We're out on open street, and they do their best to mute the sound of the neighborhood and everything. But here she is, essentially whispering this scene to Robert Downey Jr., and you could hear it from 30 feet away. You could have heard a pin drop because everybody was listening so intently. And it's a couple of moments in a big film, but it's going to stand out. It was a beautiful, beautiful moment.
I'm jealous. You're getting me too excited, man. I'm going to have to piggyback a ride over there to the Toronto Film Festival when you get to go, because I can see it that soon. Because this is what we're hearing. We're hearing just great things about this film, folks. It's called The Judge, and it's October 10th. But Matt's been busy. It's good to see. A lot of different work. He's done a ton of TV work and things like that over the years after doing some stand-up and been on Jimmy Kimmel. That's the first time I think I saw you was Jimmy Kimmel work. But Broken Vows is another thriller with some cool folks here. Wes Bentley's in that one. Jamie Alexander, folks, you know her as Sif from the Thor franchise. Can you tell us much about Broken Vows?
Well, as it suggests, Broken Vows, there's a wedding involved. Myself and Renee Ashton play the parents of Jamie Alexander. And it's about the story of Jamie and Cam Gijonde. That's how you pronounce it, isn't it?
Yeah.
From Reckless, Gijonde.
Yeah. Gijonde, yep.
Yeah. He is her fiancé, and I don't want to say too much, but there are some tests along the way as they get closer to their wedding day, he's already had an indiscretion that she has forgiven him for. And things happen along the way at her bachelorette party, which is where Wes Bentley gets introduced into the story, and he is the perfect sinister character. You know.
Oh, that is so true.
You know, those eyebrows and those eyes, that intense stare of his. And he's one of the nicest guys I ever met, too. He comes in and puts a stick in the spokes of this wedding going down, and the suspense is that he is really so close to everyone and in places where he should not be, and the tension in your stomach just grows and grows because any person with a speck of dignity would not do what he is doing, you know. And there's some fights along the way and some blood and some charming moments as well that we get to be a part of as we prepare our daughter for the wedding, and I get to give her away. But yeah, it was
it's great
really
stuff.
interesting to watch Cam. You know, I've been watching him on Reckless, and of course he was a part of the Twilight film series, and a big fan of Wes's, going back to his film with Kevin Spacey, American
Beauty. Yeah. You have a lot of other projects in the works. The Road Within, Frank versus God, which I've got to find a way to get a screening of this. I don't know what's going on with the folks that are running that machinery. I can't seem to get a copy to see that because I know some folks have, and I'm jealous.
Well, I'm very good friends with the director-writer, so I'll make that happen after we finish our interview.
That would be amazing, because I hear just really awesome things about that film, and it's such a unique concept. And you know, I'm very religious, very, very obviously religious. Folks have listened to the show much, so I'm very intrigued by the film because it's a very interesting concept of, quote, suing God, and I love that. Nice weather down here, so.
Hey, you know, we shot Frank versus God outside of Orlando. Yeah.
Well, that's another reason why I'm so excited about it. It's local. You know, I got to promote the local stuff.
It's doing very well. It's playing the festival circuit right now and getting some awards, and it won a couple of festivals. And I will hook you up. You will have that film in your hands shortly. That's
fantastic. Now, you obviously, and I want to just touch on this and close out a little bit, because you do definitely have, you know, a long run. And I love the quote of the impenetrable bubble of the entertainment business, and doing stand-up, working with Jimmy Kimmel for so long and all that, and just touch on that roller coaster ride, because so many folks, you know, you get all sorts of different perspectives. You know, of course, there's the idealists, and then they're discouraged right away. You get the folks that luck into a big film right away, but then they go through years of not getting other roles. And tell us a little bit about your journey and where it kind of has put you today and how you kind of perceive things.
I'll try and be brief. I was a kid at 18, not having any direction, college not in my future. The grades just weren't there. I have ADD, big surprise. But I was just going to go about my life and try and make it as good as I could. Somebody says to my mother on the phone, your son has a nice voice, he should be on the radio. So I decide a 6-year plan is in the works. I'm going to go to community college. I'm going to raise my grades. I'm going to go to a university, study broadcast. 6 years from now, I'll be on the radio. So I go to a community college, and I get on the radio club. I'm on there about 2 weeks. No, I did one show. Somebody involved in Buffalo radio who was running the library for some unknown reason, David Kahn, hears me, pulls me into his office, asks me what I'm doing. I tell him what I'm doing, copying the format of the station I like in town. He knows somebody there. He calls the guy. A week later, I'm on the air. So I have a job after, you know, in about a month's time, frankly, after putting together a 6-year plan. I do radio for 10 years. I start doing stand-up on the side because it looks interesting to me. I saw someone do it. I said I could do that. Did it on the side with radio for a while. Eventually got fired from radio. I'll spare you that story. Hit the road for 11 years, which is a very tough way to make a living. You don't make a lot of money, but it's a great experience. Got back into radio because stand-up was killing me. Did a very successful morning show at a station in Seattle for 8 years. During that time, I started acting on the side. And it did seem like this impenetrable bubble. How do you get in there? You turn on the TV and it's magic. You go to the theaters and boom, there it is. It's magic. How do you possibly get involved in this? Well, you know what? It all starts with words. anything I've ever done, be it radio. I also did bodybuilding, and I started a line of greeting cards with my photography, and it all started with just positive words. And I said, you know what, I'm going to act. And I swear to you, inside of a couple of months, I had a lead role in an indie film in Seattle called Carried Away, and I got singled out in the reviews for that, thank God. It played at the Seattle International Film Festival. Then a movie called Lover's Lane came along with Sarah Lancaster, Anna Faris, and a third gentleman whose name is escaping me that is doing very well in television these days. I'll think of it as I'm telling a story. I'll look it up. And, I got some commercials, and then finally I did an episode of The Fugitive. They did a remake with Tim Daly. The director, James Frawley, pulls me aside as we're filming at 3 o'clock in the morning. He says, do you work in Los Angeles at all? Because I think you'd be very busy. I said, gee, no, I don't. Riley Smith is the kid's name. And I stewed on that for a couple of years because I said to him, I got a house, I got a 401k, I've got roots now in radio. I don't know that I want to try something freelance again like comedy because it scares me. Well, I couldn't let it go. And I finally moved down here 9 years ago and have been busy ever since, and had the opportunity actually to run into Mr. Frawley when I was auditioning for private practice. He was directing Grey's Anatomy that week. I heard his name in the office and asked for him to come out and talk to me, and I recalled our story of talking at 3 in the morning. And he said, I don't know if you remember. He said, I remember. And I said, I just wanted to thank you because it's been terrific. The cap on this story is the next week I went into audition for Dirty Sexy Money. The door opens, and there he is in the director's chair. We both looked at each other and went, hey! And I got that job. It's been a very serendipitous, lucky ride for me, and it all starts with saying, I can do that. I moved down here when I was, 45 years old, 46 years old. Never really worried about the fact that other people in my category have been doing this for 25 years down here. You know what? I got a voice. I got a face. I'm unique. I raised my hand and I said, look at me. And I'm not going to get everything. I don't have an Oscar on my shelf or an Emmy, but I'm a busy actor and I'm very, very thankful for it.
And indeed he is, folks. Matt Reidy, a ton of great stuff. You've seen him in all sorts of things. Justified, he was on True Blood. Yeah, NCIS LA, Southlands, Sons of Anarchy. Oh, Sons of Anarchy is got to be a great experience just to walk on that set.
Yeah.
Everything we hear about Sons of Anarchy, I've interviewed some folks, and it's just the same thing. It's just, that one always is kind of like an earmark thing. A little bit of Justified. Did you have a scene with Oliphant? Because everybody always talks about that experience.
In Justified, no. I worked with, oh, God, you're really testing an old man's brain here.
Yeah, it's what I do.
I'm going to tell you a Ron Perlman story while I'm finding out my answer to this.
That's fine.
When I was on set for Sons, I saw Ron, and I said, I wanted to thank you because a few years ago you had to pull out of the LAPD Celebrity Golf Tournament, and they gave me your spot. And he says, how'd you do? I said, we came in second. He goes, I would have won.
That is definitely Perlman. That is definitely Perlman. Oh,
I worked with Walton Goggins.
Oh my gosh, he's like my favorite. I'm chasing an interview for that guy like forever and a day. It never seems to work out because of his schedule. He has the best villain character on this show. We've talked about Justified forever. My wife, it's her guilty pleasure. She is not a fan of violent TV and all that stuff, but I got her hooked on Justified in season 1. And those two guys, Oliphant and Goggins, she is just hooked. And this is the final season. Matt, what are we going to do without Justified?
I know. When these things go away, there's this period of mourning, and you just wait for something else to fill the void, but I don't know what's going to fill that void.
We're in like a new golden age of TV, though, so, there's really no complaining. People that are complaining are just not looking around, because there's great TV. Even if it's just short-lived, stuff that only lasts for a couple seasons, there's some good stuff happening, and folks, we talk about it endlessly on this show, that's for sure. Fargo.
I mean, yeah. Billy Bob left The Judge at the end of filming, and his next gig was Fargo. I mean, talk about... Well, they did come back. They are coming back. It's going to be a different cast. But you speak of television that gives us one season to really bite into. That's my first thought.
Yeah, True Detective is going to be the other one. It's kind of like that, where they kind of like just do it in different ways, and we're hearing the same kind of thing. They may change up the cast a little bit there with, McConaughey and Harrelson and stuff like that. So great opportunity. Great time for you, Matt. Great chance to keep you busy and doing great stuff like this, and we look forward to seeing the different films that we've talked about. The Judge is the biggest one, October 10th, but obviously Broken Vows, The Road Within, Frank versus God. We want to catch that. We'll be previewing that.